And you're welcome back. Now, gas for electricity generation from the Jubilee fields will no longer be free by the end of the year. Ghana under the Eswakufo government negotiated this free gas arrangement with Tallow Oil. Now, gas is cheaper than crude when used for generation, but free gas from Jubilee had always been preferred due to the impact on pricing. Well, at the presentation on the proposed tariffs with PRC, GNPC indicated that they had considered this development in their computation for gas prices.
Some key assumptions from GNPC. The first one is that Jubilee Foundation volume, which we have enjoyed over the years as free gas, is coming to an end. Towards the end of this year, we expect that to come to an end, and we will then begin to be paying the full price for Jubilee. The good thing is that it will still be cheaper, but it will not be the cheapest. Particularly, it will be more expensive than 10. And the one thing to note about it also is that we have not yet concluded the negotiations on the price for that. This is still ongoing, and we have used some proxy for now for the purpose of this exercise, and we will come back to PRC once we conclude the negotiations. The second principle is that we have always, since 2017 or 2019, we've assumed that a GNPC share of all the gas that we have, as well as the royalty share, are free. We don't price that. And that was a key component of the tariff determination for 2019.
Well, so what options are left for Ghana to explore? Well, Kwame Janta of the Civil Society Platform on Oil and Gas says government's renegotiation skills and its ability to ensure a stable CDN inflation rate will determine whether the cost of production will go up or not.
The Jubilee partners have indicated that there are certain costs that they would incur. So they cannot continue with the free gas. However, they are prepared to negotiate a certain amount. And from what I understand, it's, I think, between 10 and 50 cents for the gas. Now, you would then ask the question, if that ownership of the gas is now in the hands of the Jubilee partners, can the Jubilee partners decide that we would want to use the gas for some alternative endeavor? The petroleum agreement so far they have with Ghana does not allow the partners to use the gas for any other thing. Example, if they wanted to turn it into LNG, they don't have that authority. The petroleum agreement does not allow them to do that. And so, based on that, it looks as if GNPC can negotiate a much lower rate, then the impact on Ghanaians would not be felt that much, or it will be negligible.
Well, so how do we deal with this? Joining me now is Peter Tekpe, a policy analyst. Peter, so there we have it. What should be the option for the GNPC?
Well, it's a major challenge, but I think that where we are heading towards, cost is one key factor, and also sustainability, in order to ensure that there is continuity. And so, of course, we have to look at which option will give us maximum value. I mean, where we can maximize our returns as well. And so that is the option that we will explore. So at the point we are now, everybody is looking at what alternative sources are available in getting the best out of what it can generate from it. So the situation at hand now calls for us to look at all the alternatives that are available, and that is what GNPC is looking out for. And so it is that every country is looking at alternative source of generating power, and I think that especially the world situation that we are facing in terms of energy crisis. And so what can give us continuous supply is what we have to look out for, especially at a price that is moderate, that will not affect the citizens as well.
But the point is, what's going to be the impact on the industry? the energy sector as a whole?
Well, the impact on the energy sector as a whole is that, when there's short of gas supply, it's going to have huge impact in power generation. Already we are impacted by that in Ghana, where the IPPs are indebted, and as a result, the power generation is becoming a challenge for the country. And so if this is going to happen, then we're going to worsen the situation for Ghana, and we wouldn't like to get to that level again. And so it's a cause for concern. It's a cause for concern. It's going to impact businesses further, and Ghana wouldn't like to go into that days again at all.
And so you've also been monitoring even the discussions on the tariffs and the proposals we are getting from all of the utility companies. Feeding that into what's happening now, what do you predict will happen, or perhaps maybe the option for PRC going forward?
The PRC, in fact, the situation we find ourselves now is in a very tight corner. There is a legacy problem. This is not something that has come up as a result of today. And the energy sector has been suffering for a very long time, especially our utility providers, especially UCG and then Ghana Water. They have been faced with major challenges. All over the years, when budgets are set, we don't see any budget allocated to pay bills, especially state institutions. And that is mostly what has brought us to this level, talking about the gaps and the wastage in the system. And so it's a major call for concern. And what this requires is that we should then be looking at alternative source of energy, such that it will reduce this huge cost on the government, especially state institutions. So that if the state institutions are not able to make payment to the utility organization, then should they be looking at solar, so that then they don't spend money they don't have to incur debt that is affecting these utility companies, because they are the biggest offenders when it comes to defaulters in these utility bill payments. So we should be looking at maybe rolling them out of the pool and giving them solar, and maybe that will solve one of the major problems that we are facing now.
But eventually, we'll definitely pay more.
Of course, because if you look at what they are saying, this is even to break even. So if this is even to break even, and to be able to manage their production cost, then it means that this 148, this percentage they are even asking for is even less. But the issue is that, look, even if they increase it by 500%, we will still come back to this equation. Why? Because the users are not paying. So if the biggest users are not paying, then what do? Then you look at alternative way of taking these users out of the pool, which is most of the time the state institution. Why are we not looking at solar? So that we take them out of the main grid, so that it will free space for the utility companies to also be able to, deal with their efficiency well. It's something that government deliberately needs to look at it, because this debt is government debt, and government debt is the people's debt. So what do we do? For how long are we going to be paying this debt? They will always come to us and say, let us pay. And if you increase it as many times, you will still come back to this level. So what should we do? Let's look at alternatives, long-term solution, and solve it. So that we say all state institutions should be using solar, and that will solve the problem.
Anyway, we'll have to leave it here. Peter Tekpe, he is a public policy analyst. Thank you so much for joining us.